Hi, people. Welcome back to Wednesday night movies. Tonight, it's Police Academy. Yay! An oldie, but a goldie. But that was a fun watch. I must admit. Kim Cattrall, Steve Guttenberg, but Kim Cattrall.
Oh, we have so many more amazing actors in this as well.
Oh, there's so
E.W.
many.
Bailey.
Yeah, Bubba Smith is fantastic.
I
Oh,
love Bubba Smith. Yeah,
I
I was
love
so
Hightower.
Yeah,
yeah, he's brilliant.
even Lissard. I think his
Well,
all
that
through the
actor
Police
is
There
Academy
are
ones.
many wonderful things.
Yep.
yes,
Literally
and
so
some
tricky.
very cringy things as
Very,
well.
very. There's a lot of definitely.
Eeks.
PC is not in its vocabulary.
No. I
Even
had.
the bit,
I mean,
even the bit where George Martin or Giorgio Martinez is actually chatting up the Japanese woman.
yeah.
I had a family member who died at Pearl Harbor. Maybe your family had something to do with it.
Oh, I mean, it
What?
just runs the gamut really
Yes.
of incredibly un PC, but at the same time, I think as long it's still from somebody that grew up in the States and spent most of my life there, it has an extra element of cringe,
Yeah.
shall we say.
Yeah.
But but be that as it may, you have to sort of take it as it is. It's a bit like Blazing Saddles.
Yes.
It would be considered wildly
Inappropriate.
inappropriate in the current time period,
Yeah.
but at the time
It
it was
was
made.
inappropriate back then, but it is because it's a comedy. It's making fun of the things that are still so wrong.
Correct. And that's absolutely right, Jim. And I think, unfortunately, it runs the risk of being a little bit triggering to people who are sort of not looking at it from that perspective, and
Yeah.
don't stop to look at it through that lens. But yeah, that's exactly what it is. It's like Mel Brooks as well. It's sending up
Yes.
the foibles and the issues that we've had as a human race. It's sending that all up.
Yep. You look at some of the things, Chad and what would be the other one? The other one,
Copeland,
the smaller one with the blonde hair.
Oh, you mean the instructor?
No, the two non-PC, the two from the Oyster Bar.
Oh,
Was it Kyle and Chad?
I can't think of their names. I know the two you're referring to now.
Yeah.
Copeland and Strickland.
No, it was Copeland and Blake's.
Blanks.
Blanks.
Yeah.
I think it was Kyle and Chad. The only reason I know it's Copeland and Blanks is obviously because the Hightower hands the two guns and you see their names. I just couldn't remember the first name, but I think it's Kyle or Kyle, something like that. But even those two things they said were so un-PC, but it was just the way he would say things, then turn around and Hightower standing there. And it's a good thing for the Academy.
There are too many spades in here when he's doing you reach your arm out. This is your normal army lineup when you're a recruit, even police. You put your right hand out as far as you can. You touch the shoulder of the one that is next to you, so you have the correct spacing. And there you have this microscopic, tiny little guy, and it's it's too many spades here. And you have someone literally just going, not an angle, it's literally from his top, touch on his shoulder. And it's like, oh crap.
You might want to rephrase that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I had really forgotten a lot about this film, and I thought I remembered more about it, and I thought there would be more scenes about mishaps and the adventure, and obviously the redemption arc at the end, you know, and all that. But a lot of the filler and a lot of the background and the build up, I was quite amazed. It had a lot of stuff in it that I really honestly had forgotten about, or because of when it was made, it was the 80s. You know, you're talking, it might as well be another world.
Yeah.
You know, very different times.
Yeah, if you look at some of the things in it.
I rewatched it with my, shall we say, the PJ Maybe channel kind of. Let's actually look at what they were saying. Let's look what they were doing. Was it really amazing? Because me as a kid in the 80s, Police Academy, it's like, yay! It's the best thing ever. It's hilariously funny as Kim Cattrall. We got her without clothing. Any boy who's just like, yay! But even so, now I'm looking back at it, and I'm trying to apply adult standards, all of that, and I'm just going, okay, that wasn't a nice thing, but when you do have it's Copeland, hopefully my memory serves me, he can't hide that he's a little bit ignorant, intolerant, whatever it is. But does he not get his comeuppance, not only once, but twice?
Actually, 3 times.
Exactly. But my favorite scene is still with Copeland, with his car, and he's going.
Oh no, that's Blanks' car. Blanks is
no. It's Copeland's car.
Copeland's a small one. That's right. And Blank is the thing, because I keep thinking Chad, as in it's what I always did. Every time I think Chad, I think the big tall one, like almost an American football.
Yeah.
At school was always a Chad. So every time I hear Chad, I just think of the big one, and I know it's the other way around.
But
Which I think
it's
it
still
was really well, even with the haircut.
It's a redemption arc for him. Sort of, you actually get to humanize him. He's not just your throwaway bad guy, horrible person. It's, you do understand that that's actually human. He might be talked to. He might be reasoned to. It's the love he has for his car. And it's like that, and his friend is actually trying to console him during that. He's just going.
Yeah,
he has no power to say what he feels.
It goes to show what people are actually turning around and saying today. You look at that show. Who was the captain that sponsored Mahoney?
Black
captain. Yeah. Who was one of the instructors? A female instructor. All the things that we were told never happened in the past.
Yeah, but the premise of the film, if people today, the woke people, you can't have women on the police force. Really? Who's Sergeant Callahan?
Yeah.
Even Cooper.
Yeah.
Remember Cooper?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I'm saying. Considering when it was made, even if it was made now, those type of cast people would say, but you never saw that in the past. Which goes to show it's a load of bill. Because you look at the best ones in this, the arc for Cooper, she's a wee mousey, and then she, right, and
she
then you've
lets
got,
rip at the end. Yeah.
Then you've got the Sergeant Callahan. She's the dominant in the relationship at the end.
Yeah.
With her George.
No surprises.
And bring me flowers.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, you had the ones that had some of the best arcs, where what people would tell you never appeared on TV before, which just goes to show how ludicrous it was. But you even look at some of the things that was said in it. Barber. Remember, we were talking about Hightower when he get kicked out. He says, all the people who would get kicked out, I wouldn't think it was him. If every cop looked like him, there would be no crime. which when you look at Hightower, you're fucking true.
Yeah.
Because he's a big, tall, intimidating looking guy.
Yeah.
Even when he's sitting in a mini car, and I go, guys, when he has the driving lesson, and he bumps into it and goes, Hightower's in at fault. The other guy has the right to scream at him, but he just leans into the window and is going, okay.
Oops. Yeah.
I'm going away now.
Yeah.
The guy has every right to scream
Yeah.
at him. Every right, but he's just going, I'm not touching that. I'm going
No.
away.
And that's what I'm saying. The fact that Barbara turns around and says one of the best lines in it. Yeah, I mean, if every cop looked like him, there would be no crime. It is just goes to show, yeah, it is true. No matter what you think, if
Yeah.
somebody that build, that height comes towards you, you're going, yes, sir. No, sir. Nope.
Yeah.
Whatever you say, sir.
Well,
It's based.
he even comes through from the instructor. If you take just the subtle scenes of, do you know the wall they have to climb over?
Yeah.
It's just
And they push.
scream that the little voice lady was like, walk around, and he's just going smack. It's like walking over the thing. When he has to
Even
do the
climbing the
climbing
wall.
ropes, it's just,
Uh-huh.
yeah, it's pulled out of the ceiling. And the instructor's just going, good job, because he has nothing to actually add. You can't discipline him.
Yeah, but even some of the one-liners in this were just, well, wouldn't class them as one-liners, but some of the quotes in this are absolutely hilarious. Honey, I'll show you. Nobody screws with me. Well, maybe, sir, when you find the right woman. Yeah, I mean, some of the stuff they come away with. Where did you get that gun? My mum gave it to me.
There are so many favorites in this. You can't choose. Like say, oh, that has to be the best, because even though Mahoney is supposed to be the main main hero, whatever you want to call it, he certainly doesn't come across like that. Yes, it revolves around him, but literally every cadet from the academy, from Barbara to Hightower, even Copeland, the dunces that, well, shall we say, that the Blue Oyster Bar dancers. And it was something, today I can see how someone would have termed it homophobic. But whenever we, at a very young age, at the late 90s, going out to the pub and one of us got hit on by another guy. Obviously not being that way, the rest of us is just going, da, 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 da. Because all of us knew exactly what the Blue Oyster Bar dancing meant.
Yeah, but think about it. There was some non-PC parts, but that was meant to be because they were meant to show Chad and Kyle as the
idiots that they were.
The idiots, the morons, the bigots.
I was just going to say you're far too kind when.
But even
I could say lots more.
But even those two, after they came out, the Blue Oyster Bar, there wasn't any jokes about it. It was just a case of what happened dancing. There wasn't any jokes or at anybody's expense. It was just a case of they kept it quiet because it dancing. The Mahoney and all that didn't make jokes at their expense like they did with Harris with it. You know what I mean? So
the horse incident, yes.
Expense, but they didn't make jokes at their expense because of that. So there wasn't even jokes about the fact that they were in a gay bar and they were dancing. There was no jokes about it. So it was almost a case of.
But you see, even as a teenager, the joke I took away from that wasn't the fact they got tricked into a gay bar in the first time. It was when the riot happening and they're seeking cover and unfortunately ending up in the very same place they didn't want to be in the first place.
Yes.
Do you know what I would have
is
preferred if they had done that wee sequence just slightly differently? See, when they went through the door, I would have preferred you heard the scream and then it panned up to the Blue Oyster Bar rather than them going through the door. It pans up, it says Blue Oyster Bar, then you hear the scream. I think it would have been slightly funnier if you hear the scream
no,
thinking,
for
wonder
me,
what
it's the
happened. Then
music.
it
For me,
pans
it's the
up.
music. Da, da, da,
But
da,
I'm just
da,
saying that one wee
da.
bit at the second part where they're checking the doors and they go through the door. Then the camera pans up, it says Blue Oyster Bar, then you hear the two of them screaming. I think it would have been slightly funnier as they go through the door, you heard the screaming, and then it panned up to the Blue Oyster Bar, just for the simple fact is you would have thought, wonder where they go, I wonder what happened when they went through the door, and then it would have panned up, and then you would have understood it. But because it panned up to the name before you heard the scream, I thought, oh, they missed a chance to get a wee bit of, oh, wonder what happened because they're trying to get away from the crowd. You would have thought they would have ran into somebody, and then it would have panned up, and then it would have been a slightly more funnier in that respect. But it was the fact is, there the two of them got tricked into going to a gay bar. But there was no jokes at anybody's expense.
Yeah,
I will
well,
say that
They
Thailand
slagged
Copeland is
Harris about
getting
the
kind of
horse,
like
but they didn't
the
slag.
rough
There was
end
no
of it.
jokes about it. So even that, it was quite.
well,
It
there were. What I will say is there were stereotypes there
very
that
much so.
obviously at the time that it was made were the predominant stereotypes.
Yeah,
But again, that was, you know, lack of exposure and ignorance to, you know, to people's lifestyles
yeah,
then. And it was, again, I mean, South Park has done it. They used that same trope in
yeah,
in the South. I think I forget. I think it was in the South Park Bigger, Longer, and Uncut film. They used that sort of trope as well. But it's if it's done with the type of slapstick comedy that
yeah.
this was done, I didn't get the impression that it was an intentional slight against anybody. And as you said, I think it was the opposite, as both you and Jim have said. It's meant to send up and to make the people who think that way look like the complete idiots that they are. And that's exactly what it does. But it is hard to watch at points. But
it
There's
is,
no
but
denying
if
that.
you look at it, these, shall we say, Harris approved cadets, you young men look fun, really nice haircut. They're getting put through the ringer at every stage there is. From getting the haircut, because they bullish, they want to jump in front of the queue, they just go zip everything off. And our charming George Martin,
yeah, he was
he's
great.
just a little bit of the side, please. And they just go, you can do that? So that's literally the first time you realize that these guys are going to be on the receiving end of a lot of not fun stuff.
Yeah, they're simple. They're very, very simple.
Here's the thing. They're also getting it from Lieutenant Harris. He's choosing them because he thinks they're more controllable, but he's putting them on the jump duty.
Yeah.
Every time Mahoney is committing a crime, they're the ones that are going to have to stay up through the night and watching him do push-ups or run around.
That's right. He's taken advantage of them and treated them just as poorly because he doesn't have any respect for anybody. He doesn't care. He just treats them like dummies.
They're a tool to actually get what he wants, and that's what it is.
For me, I will say Copeland or Copeland, but if you pay attention, Harris is actually after the introduction when they're in the room, they're standing there in the shorts, and Copeland is like, oh, hey, hello, hi. He's being a little bit too eager. He's just going, don't care. After that, in the lineup scene, it's like, I've chosen these guys, and he's deliberately not calling him Copeland. He's calling him Dopeland.
Yeah.
So it's an extra kick. And I will say, out of all of these people that are getting, shall we say, bullied, these two guys are the ones that are receiving the worst of it. They just happen to be the ones that don't realize that they are getting that bully.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's just one of those movies that it's for even when it was done in the 80s,
Mm-hmm.
it showed quite a lot of promise because
Mm-hmm.
you had a black captain in the police force, you had female police officers, you had someone in a
Yeah.
role of authority, Sergeant Callahan, you had
They made,
when somebody was getting slagged, it was because they were either too weak, they were fat, they were too quiet. It wasn't about anything else, except for obviously the two nutcases who thought they were superior just
yeah,
because. But everybody else, it wasn't a case of she's not going to get in because she's black. It was a case of she's not going to get in because she's got a wee mousy voice. He's not going to get in because of this. He's going to. It's because
yeah,
of a particular trait. It's not because of their sex or the color of their skin. It was a case,
correct.
even
I
Harris, it was a case of someone, there's people here, like Callahan, he works with her and he basically says, we are the scariest too. So it's not a case of he sees her as a
yeah,
female lesser.
I
She's
think
still on the same
Well,
level.
we
yeah,
get introduced to that at an extremely early level through the I mean, imagine this film being made today. Captain Lassard, Commandant Lassard, apologies, could not function at all. I mean, remember back in the day, it was Johnson's. Johnson's as long as we could see. Oh, what a
Yeah.
glorious day. Really? I don't know if that is a homophobic joke or if it's like a...
no, I think it's like an anti-women in the force
Yes,
joke
that's
type of
exactly
thing.
what it is.
A
It's
little
meant
bit.
to
That is a
represent that
that's
antiquated.
exactly what it is. It's a
Yeah,
misogynistic joke. It
exactly.
is
Yeah,
to the point of ridicule.
Yes,
Yeah, I
exactly.
mean,
So
yeah.
the
it's like
fact is, well,
discarding women, but it's like...
I think what this film did well is that it helped. By the time you get to the end of the film, you can see that they're showing the audience and they're allowing the audience to see these characters, irregardless of sex, race, whatever, as individuals and
mhm,
not anything else, but only just as individuals that are in a similar situation, that are standing up and looking after each other and doing the right thing,
yeah,
and that's what that's what our whole generation was raised to do, to not
yeah,
see color, not see gender, not see, it was about the individual.
yeah.
If
And
you're a
you
good
even look
person
at it,
or a bad
uh
person.
you
Yeah,
look at it, right? The way people describe that movies of that generation, they would be saying, right, the three people at the end who break away to try and help, right? The way they would describe it is, it's obviously three white guys, but it wasn't. It was a white guy, a black guy, and a black woman.
mm,
They were the ones that broke away trying to help, to assist. So it wasn't even of the time where people are telling you, "Oh, you never saw these type of people in these hero roles." Well, actually, they're two of the three people
yeah,
in those roles, and that's in an 80s movie. So
yeah,
whatever they say is just a load of junk because you've got Cooper, Hightower, and Mahoney.
yeah. So, I mean, even though it's definitely got a cringe factor when you can't help but in some way superimpose it on today's standards.
Mhm.
It's just not possible not to. But you also, as I think Jim, or you said earlier, it's about the time in which it was made, but it's also about showing the people that have those views are idiots, and they'll
Yes.
always be idiots,
Yeah.
and that's what
Even
it did
then,
well.
even then they were shown to be idiots. Blazing Saddles showed them to be idiots.
Mhm.
And that was a
Police
good 10
Academy
years
showed them to be
before this
idiots.
film.
Yeah,
Yep.
there you go. Yeah.
Do you know there was one part in it in the movie I was a bit
like,
disappointed at? One
what I
part.
really love about this, and Wendy, I do apologize you being a little bit American, is the gun-toting Tackleberry.
Oh yeah. He was
I mean,
he was great.
Come with me.
He was great.
not
I was
only that,
laughing
says
at him.
that my mum gave it to me.
No, the best
Yes.
one
It's
was
like
Tackleberry
literally
was
obliterating
saying,
the target.
"We will be doing crowd control. There'll be no danger. You'll be well out of it. There'll be real policemen handling all this. You'll be just diverting traffic. Yes, you will have live ammunition, but it's not to be used. Do you hear me, Tackleberry
Yeah.
numbnuts?"
What about the bit where he realized that he missed the
Oh, the
opportunity when he
gunplay.
actually could have used his weapon, and he was absolutely heartbroken.
And Lassard goes, "What's wrong with him? There was gunplay and he missed it." Ah.
There's a character like him, not exactly, but of the same sort of trope in Stripes. The one that was
Yeah.
just like super hyper, and he was paranoid of everybody, and and he was always like grabbing for his gun and like pointing it around, and anybody
not seen
touches my
Stripes for
stuff
ages.
and I kill you. That he was a funny character as
Yeah.
well.
I've not seen Stripes for ages. Still remember the boom,
It's,
chicka, 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 boom, chicka, chicka, chicka,
it's
boom.
brilliant. Yeah, I love
It
Stripes.
is
Yeah.
definitely one of the fun ones. But then
But
again, it's
my
another one of the
favorite
fun ones.
character of all of them is Jones.
Which is Jones? Oh yeah, yeah. We were
Right.
laughing.
No, the one you mean like this?
Hey, that's cheating. But it's the fact that he could do that with his own voice.
Yeah,
It was actually amazing.
it was. And
Yeah, he
I
was
mean,
actually legitimately doing that. Yeah.
it was a bit when somebody would be walking past and there'd be him sitting playing a computer game going,
Yeah.
game over.
Yes, that's it.
But he did that in stand up. They basically wrote that part for him because he could do that.
Yeah. Yeah, he was a fantastically talented guy.
Yeah.
What was I going to say? And the scene where they are trapped in the car with the commandant, and they run into his car, and they realize that he's actually going to get them out of it because he puts him on the speaker, and then he makes that same sound with the machine guns, and the whole crowd disperses in a panic.
And then they crash the car. You say to Lassard, you should park cars for a living. Basically just take the
Well,
mickey.
it's a
But
little
the
bit
good
of
thing
a
is there was
jab
some great
against
lines
him.
in this.
But I will spoil a little bit because this should be toward the end. But Lassard is my favorite out of all of them. He is the smartest one out of the entire bunch.
Mm.
Do I
Lassard
dare
meaning
the
commandant, you mean?
Yes, Commandant Lassard. Are you ready for this? You know the presentation he has to have in front of a screen,
Yeah.
and there is a zip sound happening.
Yeah.
Now, after all that happens, the face that comes out of the podium,
Yeah.
that's Mahoney.
He thinks it's Mahoney.
He thinks it's Mahoney for the longest time, but when it comes down to the award ceremony,
That was the one part that annoyed me.
Not only has he managed to figure out what's going on, he's also managed to find the lady responsible for the zip sound happening and gives it back to Mahoney.
Yeah, that was the one part that annoyed me because when he goes up to the podium initially, he goes under it to look.
Yeah.
Which is implying that he's still checking podiums out of habit because of what happened.
Mm.
He does his speech, and then he gets Hightower, then Mahoney.
I mean,
And just as Mahoney's doing it,
Hightower's acknowledgement speech is fantastic. It's like, thanks.
Yeah, that worked.
Thanks.
And when Mahoney goes up, it's like, yeah, I have a speech ready, and then it's like, zip.
But that's what I'm
He
saying.
just goes like, the look on him is like,
It would have been, I think it was only just to the fact that Lessard looked under it to make sure there was nobody there. Then he goes up, does his speech. Then Hightower does his speech. You didn't know it was going to be just thanks. And then Mahoney, then there's a zip.
yeah, but it's still part of the revenge plot. So
yes,
but it's just the fact that he looked underneath, which takes it away from it. Because if he knows,
but I will give you this: did he look to make sure it was ready, or did he look? Is it going to happen to me again? I think he looked. Is it ready?
No, see, I think he looked because it was designed to actually make you think, oh, I'm being wary. So it was designed to look.
I can't blame that. I can't blame that. I would definitely be wary if it happened to me.
If he's meant to know she's under there, that takes it away from it. That's what I'm saying. That one wee bit, just him looking under there, sort of annoyed me just because of what happened. Because there was Tackleberry. So Hightower. If he hadn't looked underneath, Hightower did the speech, and then when Mahoney comes up, she goes zip. It would have been a hell of a lot better because then he has planned it, said him. Whereas because he looks under, he's implying he's scared to go up because his speech, and it looks like she's just coming out. Just so happened to be Mahoney.
I fully understand your point on this one.
Yeah,
I very much agree that it's paranoia, but I like to think of it as the angle. She's there. We're ready for my revenge.
Yes, yeah. He's gotten his revenge on him. Yeah.
I like to think of it that way. I see
it would have actually just been more. It would have been more. It would have been more. Haha, got you, because I've been up there. Hightower was there. Mahoney was there, and then it happened. So he deliberately says, "You're targeting him."
Oh, of course, yeah.
Because of the way it played out, it looked like she just came out. Just so happened when Mahoney was there, and then that's when he looks round and Lestard goes. It just
he doesn't go. He is actually going, I know exactly what's happening.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. It was almost a case of. But it's the fact is, it's just that one wee bit sort of took me out of it, just because they sort of played it almost like it was the accident, as in it happened. It just so happened she came out at that time, and so is it? Whereas if Hightower was doing a speech, you see what I mean? If the speech was longer, if she'd come out just at that point. It's just I know I can be a wee bit pedantic, but it's just that's the way
Lessard is the best. He would have debriefed her. I will introduce.
He's already debriefed him.
Yes, no. He would have told her. I will call the name.
He went all he got that one.
Do nothing. When I say Mahoney, now you do what you're getting paid to do. Because this is why I'm thinking he's the not the most clever one, but he's the more clever one of them. Yes, things happen to him, but I think it also bakes into his whole character thing. Even long before any pranks is getting pulled or any of this is happening, he has that kind of passionate voice. It's like, oh, there are many, many, many wonderful things.
Yeah.
Which plays into what happens to him when he's presenting to the other high-level, supposedly high-level police officers.
Yeah.
I think it's baked in. Go ahead, Wendy.
Yeah, I think, it's definitely meant to send up bureaucracy, within any big organization, particularly with the police. I mean, there's no secret about the fact that, that's always been one of the things, that's always come out, and people have been frustrated with. It's just like anything, the government, any kind of a big service entity like that, there's always the bureaucracy at the top, that doesn't reflect the values and the people that are actually getting the job done on the ground, and that's the beauty. I think that's the positive message that comes out, is that it shows them up for the dinosaurs that they were, and there's a lovely coming together of all the personalities, and they learn to respect each other and work together, and they all have an arc. They all overcome whatever their issues are. The one lady had a very tiny little mousy voice, and she couldn't speak up for herself, and she learns. And then the I think was his name Barbara. I loved Barbara's scene where, he's in the alley and it looks like he is just going to get absolutely shredded. And he just goes full on Chuck Norris. He gets the job done.
Back in the house.
But it's our stuff.
Yeah. And that was a great little sort of gag at the end, where it wasn't even that they were stealing it, but it was just like he finally found his, his inner strength to sort that situation out. Hightower,
I found that they didn't have an end arc about their characteristics. Well, you've obviously got Frankel. I mean, when he starts it all, because he's accident prone, he basically caused a riot and stuff like that, but he just sort of blended back into the background again. It was the itself character. She didn't really
that is also my biggest peeve
because she wanted to what, and what did she accomplish? Do you see what I mean? Hers didn't really have an arc, except she was the love interest for Steve Gutenberg's character.
Yeah.
I might be missing this one, because it's the one character arc that I'm missing that is really didn't get anywhere, or didn't get the conclusion. It's the guy that is married, and his woman is literally like, no, you're not going to the police academy. I'm jumping on your windshield and everything. But he's extremely accident prone and everything. He's like carrying his bed mattress, and he says hello to Maloney, but he's turning around and just with the mattress just smacking Jones out a door, and he's just like flipping down the stairs, and he's just like exactly. But his character arc didn't go anywhere, and I think they could have made something fun with him. But there are, because of the amazing level of the entire film, there are so many excellent characters overall. And even for the woke people, you have black, tall, strong men, tiny black women. You have Hispanic women, Hispanic men, blondes, redheads. You have everything. You even have idiotic and stereotypically close-minded, like whiteboard men, like Johnsons. It should be Johnsons as long as, well, as far as the eye could see. Oh, those were the days. It's really taking fun out of everything.
Yeah,
it's idiotic.
Exactly. It's showing it up for the idiocy that it is.
Yeah.
Definitely.
But that's what I'm saying. The apart from anything else, they managed to do it in a way and at a time where everybody keeps on telling you it didn't happen. They took the mickey out of the establishment, even the rioters weren't seen as anything other than something that happened. So they weren't evil or they weren't put upon. They were just something happened. There was a fight. Somebody took advantage of the fight because somebody turned around and says, "Here, hold this," and they go, "Free TVs," and it was that type of thing. It was just, um, it was just the way things just sort of went out of control. It wasn't over the top in that respect. It wasn't a case of look at all these poor people, they're bad because they're rioting. It was just a case of something that happened. It was something that happened that he threw an apple. The guy turned round and there's somebody else with apples. They cause a fight, and because they're causing a fight, a car does some a cycle does some damage, and because that does damage, he hands a TV to someone and says, "Here, hold that." And the guy gets handed a free TV, shouts free TV, so people come rushing in, and it literally just went out of control. And that's the good thing about it. It wasn't a case of these guys are the good guys, these are the bad guys. It was just these guys are all in the middle of something that just sort of happened and got out of control. So it didn't show
Yeah.
anybody as the good guys or the bad guys. The only one
Yes.
that was the bad guy. What was his name?
As long as you don't ask Mr.
Doug
Tackleberry, of course.
Lennox.
Because he wants
Doug
to see the
Lennox, he
bad
was
guy.
known
He
as the
wants to
main bad
go.
guy. The guy, it was actually his title in it was called Main Bad Guy. Wasn't
Yes,
even given a name. He was just Main Bad Guy.
but he has the most. You met all of them by this time. This is so late in the film. So main bad guy, when main bad guy gets introduced, we're in the last quarter of the film, and you have these two idiots. It's like it's a chicken fence in between. It's like, oh, you're not so tough now, and it's like they're wielding the guns, and it's like, oh, you want to do something, and the main bad guy is just standing there. It's like arm up on the railing that holds the fence down. It's like an open area, and they just walk in, and it's like, oh crap, there is no protection here. This kind of tells me they have no intention of actually using the guns. It's like more a
bully.
power statement from them that, oh,
It's a
okay,
bully.
we're supposed to tell you to stand down, but we have no authority to do it. And when they come up against main bad guy,
I think it basically showed that it was the typical bully. We're in a position of power. You just dig me because we've got guns and we can tell you to do that. And as soon as they come across something, it opens them up. That's when they go and run away.
but
And
exactly, they are cast in a very, really complex way. Yes, they are not likable. Their attitudes, the notion toward other fellow human beings is bad completely. I mean, they're bullying Barbara. They're racist. They have really bad attitudes all over, and the whole thing. But when they get faced with real trouble or real life, and it's actually not someone they really bullied before. It just happened to be someone who said, "No, don't like you."
Yeah.
Whether or not main bad guy is actually really that anti-cop, can't really tell, but he would definitely have a reason to be. I think cops are bad people because he's seen these bullets just walk down the line.
Yeah.
He's just getting the opportunity to go, you know what?
see, I think it was just a stereotypical bad guy.
Well,
It was just there to
that's
be the
cheating
bad
since
guy.
he's called main bad guy.
Yeah, but I think it's also the fact that he's just a stereotypical bad guy. Because as the two of them just stare at him, he just takes their guns and that's like, and then they run away. So if he was very anti-cop, he would have probably just shot them. But it was the fact
Even the
is,
actor is a good, like, foot taller than these guys.
yeah, that's
He's
what
on
I'm
the
saying.
same height as Hightower. So he
No,
would be
Hightower
scary.
towered over him still, but yeah, he's bigger built. But it's the fact is, I think he just it's a very stereotypical bad guy, and unfortunately, that's just it. It wasn't anything fancy in that respect.
But even so, even the stereotypes, and I have a feeling when that you because I saw your messages earlier, it's like you had so many issues. It does play them, at least in my mind. All the things that are, at least what I believe, what I think. I don't think they're racist. I think humans are humans. Couldn't care less if you fall short, wide, missing a leg.
People will slag
Whatever
people for
color
something.
the sun is giving you at summer or winter time, don't care. You're human.
Well,
It's
that's it. I mean, that's
The thing is, people will pick on something. You got glasses when you're young, you're specky. You got big ears, you look like a Morris Minor with its car doors open. I've heard them all. You know what I mean? So if you're black in a white, predominantly white neighbourhood, that stands out. So that gets picked on. But if you're white and a predominantly black, you would get picked up just the same because of your skin tone. But if you had glasses, you would get slagged. If you were bald, you would get slagged. Especially in younger people, and it's just one of those things. People in general pick out a trait, and it's usually your most defining trait. And it usually, if you're living in a group where everybody of different colours, then they're not defining traits anymore. So you'll still get slagged about something. Big long fingernails, dead skinny, 6'2" or 5 foot. Something will make people do it, and it's just nature, unfortunately.
yes, it is, and it does. It sends up humanity's unfortunate, foibles. And again, it shows the ones that were still carrying those types of views. It shows them up as the idiots that they were.
Yeah, and
Definitely.
it's the same as a lot of movies of that time or TV shows of that time that people say, "Oh, they were really racist." Did you understand what they were doing? In the UK, you had Love Thy Neighbour, right? It was meant to, and they're all saying, "Oh, that was racist," because no, because the white guy was always seen as to be stupid, whereas he was always. It wasn't necessarily a lot to do with the fact is because his neighbour was black. It was because his neighbour was middle management. He just so happened to be black, so those stereotypic stereotypical language come in, and that's where it would go down that route. That's why people, because they hear some of the things that were said, but it was always shown him as the foible. He was the one that was actually always the foil. He was the one that was always getting slagged. He was always the one that failed. He was always the one that looked stupid. And it was the same as, well, what was it? There was the American one was it Archie Bunker?
Yes,
It
exactly.
was
He
the
was
same
the Alf
idea.
Garnet. He was
And
like the Alf Garnet.
and
Yeah.
Alf Garnet, they were there to laugh at because of how stupid they looked and the stupid things they said. Because when it came down to it, they would only say stupid things. But when it came down to it as well, they would stick up for their friends, doesn't matter what colour, religion, or
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah,
It was just a
exactly.
case of that's just the way they talk, and you were there to laugh at them, not with them, at them, and that's the thing that people forget. They were there to be laughed at because the best way to
exactly.
get
And
rid
if
of
you
that
look at
is
Steve
to
Gutenberg's Mahoney's role, I dare you to tell him being the racist, sexist, misogynistic, whatever it is you want to apply to it. He's respectful of Kim Cattrall's character. Sadly,
Yeah.
I forget yes, he's flirtatious. So what does your leg look like? And she's actually giving him the perfect like go away now line. It's like they're subtle.
Yeah.
They're very tan and very exotic to the touch and all that. But she's just going, you're not getting anywhere near them, as in reading between the lines. But if you look at it later, Hightower is going, I haven't driven a car since I was 12. He's waking him up in the middle of the night, this tall black guy, and it's just going, I see what I can do to help you. This is the role model sort of to follow. He doesn't care about race or gender.
See, that's another thing as well. Believe it or not, none of it actually, it wasn't mentioned. Even by Harris, the only ones it mentioned were the two dumb ones who you were meant to actually scoff at. Because even Harris, he picked out.
Even Harris is just going, Hightower, stop. You don't do this. Don't do this. Stop. I will have to kick you out.
No, but it's not that. I'm talking about even other characters that are weak. He's not picking them out because of anything other than you're Mrs. Whisper, don't unpack. But it wasn't to do with you're black, you're a female. It was a case of because of the way she speaks, and that was it. It was characteristics like that. It was right across the board. Even someone who's meant to be the nasty one, the over the top, but even then, it wasn't seen as it was. It was never mentioned except by the two numbnuts.
Mm-hmm. But even
yes,
numbnuts are getting the fair comeuppance.
Sorry, say again.
The numbnuts, they're getting the fair comeuppance.
Yep.
And I kind of like the way it's being played. It's like, okay, these are idiots. You're supposed to not like them. But when you do have his car being completely trashed, you actually get him humanized, not dehumanized, as in, oh, he's just like ignorant fool, throw him away. Whatever happens to him is not correct. No, it's like, okay, yeah, he did get his butt kicking, but you do also get the fact that, hang on, he's actually human. And I think he's more redeemable than most of these, shall we say, idiots that think, oh, you don't have my skin color, you should die. Or whatever the thinking is. I can't even grasp.
He was already going through a bit of redemption at the first time in the Blue Oyster Bar.
Where is he sleeping on his dancing partner?
Exactly. But the other one still he's dancing. He's dancing. Then you see
I like the paranoid eyes. He's just like,
he's actually dancing, but he's sort of snuggling in because. But even the fact is, did you see the way they did it? Right at the beginning, the first dance, it wasn't a case of the two of them were and just getting blank. It was also they were dancing. It wasn't a case of it was almost like they were standing there and they were getting dragged around. They were actually dancing. And that's what I thought was really good because, as I said, it didn't take the mickey out of anything. The two of them were dancing. You could see them; they were still staring and looking very, very uncomfortable, but they were still dancing, and that's the difference. If
they do the lifts and everything.
If it was done now, they try to get that joke around. The two of them would be dead stiff and actually just getting dragged around. Whereas you look at the first dance, whereas Kyle, the big one, he's literally cha-chan almost with the guy, and he's actually dancing with him. It's not just a case of he's getting led around, and the other one's obviously getting thrown around, and because he's smaller.
But both of them are definitely good dancers.
But that's what I'm saying. It wasn't taking the mickey out of anything else except the fact is the situation. But they didn't actually slag anything about it because the two of them, although they looked uncomfortable, it didn't show them just getting dragged around like you would do now to try and make
It's
it
such
funny.
a
It
sign of
was the two of
really
them were
good
dancing,
humor.
which was funnier because
Oh,
even though they were uncomfortable, they were still joining in because
but it's such a sign of such good humor, good like comedic uh, thinking of it. It's like, yes, these guys are out to ruin a good night out. It's a weekend off for all the cadets. They're supposed to be allowed to like go out, remember what life is and everything. But obviously, our lovely Lieutenant Harris thinks, oh, it will be something I can nail them for. Technically, whatever happens when you're off duty, especially when you're in training, irrelevant unless you commit a serious federal crime. No, you having ladies without clothing dancing around the fire, which is what happens. And even if you look at their party, the report back to Lieutenant Harris on the Monday morning, I'm assuming, because we don't get told what day it is, but we would assume day offs back on Monday morning for trading, and they go, all we did was dancing. It's actually correct for both parties. All they really did was dancing.
yeah, I think it's just one of those ones where it's done so subtly and so well that it makes it funnier for this. That's what I'm saying. Even that's what I'm saying. The silly things like, for instance, the two of them are actually dancing with the two guys, even though their eyes are all over the place and you see they're uncomfortable. They are still they're actually properly dancing. They're not just getting led around as if they're getting forced to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm
They're in a
fairly
situation they
convinced that
can't
the
get out
shorter
of.
guy
So
of the shaved head boys, if you put it that way, I'm fairly certain he used to be a stand-up comedian or something that at the time, because he has the charisma, even though he's looking very much like a fool and idiot and uh, everything like that. I have a feeling he was back then. He must have been a comedian or stand-up something,
I'm sure
because
the one that played
he has more gravitas than such a tiny role should really have. Because
yeah,
he's constantly dunked on, he's getting the worst of it. But every scenario, every situation that he gets presented with, he just seems to have the charisma, the presence. He's larger than what his role is supposed to be. He really fills out all of that space.
yeah. See, I'm sure, and I'm just checking it just now. A lot of the earlier stuff he did, he was almost like the high school jock, the one that played Kyle. Because I know he was in Laverne and Shirley. Some of the other things I don't really recognise him in. Police Academy. He was in Police Academy 3 as well. He was in Martial Law, and he just played a cop in it. So, and he's not had any big part. I think in Baywatch, he was in Baywatch as two different characters in it.
Hang on, you're saying even if he was a background actor, you were in the original Police Academy, and you were in Baywatch. In my mind, it's like, dude, you were having fun in the 80s.
Yeah. Well, Baywatch Nights he was in. Sorry, it was 1996. But he was in Laverne and Shirley, 82.
Oh,
Obviously, Police
Laverne and Shirley.
Academy
That's a blast
84.
from the past.
Uh,
Um,
I still
Police
rest my
Academy
case.
3.
You're in the Police Academy, Laverne and Shelley, and Baywatch.
You've
Wait, he was
arrived.
in Police Academy
Yeah,
3.
you may not have been the main star, but you definitely were having fun.
See, I didn't know that. He was in Police Academy as Kyle Blanks with an ES, and he's in Police Academy 3 back in training as Sergeant Blanks with just an S, no ES. So is it meant to be the same character? I'll need to wait until I actually, because I've got all 7 of those movies. So I'll need to actually check the other ones. The other guy.
When does Bobcat Goldthwait come into it?
It's the second one.
Ah, right. Okay.
You mean the
screamy, shouty one?
Oh yeah,
he was
actually
great.
meant to be the original Al Bundy.
But he's in Star Trek as well. He actually wrote Star Trek.
Really? That's
yes.
cool.
Bob Goldthwait, whatever.
Married with Children was written for Roseanne and him. I can never pronounce his name.
It's like Bob Wraith Goldthwait or whatever it is. Bob Goldthwait. But no, I know him, and I find
he actually played an
even
angel.
Though it's like it feels
Married
over
with
the top,
Children.
it's never too far over the top.
Right. I'm actually looking at the other guy, Scott Thompson, who played Chad. He was in Smokey and the Bandit as a teen car thief.
Oh, interesting.
He was in the Greatest American Hero as Young Boy.
Another one I watched.
Parasite, TJ Hooker, he was in.
Yeah, TJ Kirk.
Fantasy Island, Police Academy 3 and 4 as well. He was in RoboCop.
Ooh.
Oh, he was a busy boy then.
Yep, Star Trek: The Next Generation.
Now, tell me that these are nobodies or people that didn't have good fun at this time.
Yeah, but basically, and a lot of them, he had one single part. It was like sort of young boy or cop or stuff like that. But I think the biggest one he had was Spaghetti Family. It was a TV series that he played Franco, the English version's voice. So he's just done the voiceover for something. But he's been in bits and pieces right up until 2016. He's actually in something called Keep It Together. He plays a hotel manager in a short. It's in post-production. But yeah, I mean,
that's still a career spanning 3 decades.
Yeah.
I've been in IT for the longest time. I haven't been in IT for 3 decades yet.
95.
Okay.
95.
You got 36 years. I can guarantee you I can find these randoms that's been in and out, the background roles and everything for at least 40 years.
Yeah. So basically another 3 year, because it's 22 nearly, so another 3.5 years. I've been 21 years in IT. Doing support of one description or another.
Have you tried turning it off and on again?
I tried doing that with my brain. I'm a Homer Simpson. Every time I learn something new, something old falls out. So I try no anything new.
Oh no, that's Dr. Cox from Scrubs. You just told me some stupid nonsense. I lost the 1997 games between the Rangers and blah blah blah.
Yeah.
Could you please stop talking?
Yeah. I might say as well. I'm just trying to double check he was in it. See the guy who played the sergeant, the captain,
Lieutenant Harris.
No, the captain, the one that actually sponsored. Was it Captain Ross?
Oh no, you're
Captain
talking about Reed.
Captain Reed. Ted Ross, his name was. Was he not in the Wiz? Did he not play the line in the Wiz?
Could be. I recognize him from other stuff.
I saw the Wiz. I saw the Wiz on Broadway.
See, when I saw him, I'm sitting thinking, where the hell did I know him from? And for some reason, I thought a weird hairdo, and I think it was the costume from the Wiz. Because my daughter loved the Wizard of Oz, so she's seen every iteration of it, and I'm sure that's what it was. So I'm checking. Right, let's see. There's his stuff there. So he started the Four Kings, the Court. Never heard. He was in the Jeffersons, The Wiz. He played the Lion,
Of course,
and he was in The Wiz on the road, down the road, which was a short. I think that was the one I remember when he was singing.
Well, that was a song from The Wiz, Ease On Down
Yeah.
the Road. Yeah,
Yeah,
I remember
I'm
seeing
sure
it
they
all those
released
years
that
ago.
separately.
Cracking play.
He was in Arthur.
God, yeah, I
He
remember all
was
those.
he was in a video of the Wiz as well as the Lion again. So he's played it 3 different times. He was in The Equalizer, Cosby Show, Arthur 2 on the Rocks. He played the same character in both Arthur movies.
he's definitely been around.
He was in The Fisher King.
Oh wow!
Was he? I love that
That's
film.
Robin Williams and
Michael Jeter.
Yes, that's
And,
an amazing film.
I love that film.
That's
Very
really
powerful.
an amazing film. I mean, just the fact being in it, even if you're just like a guy standing in the background reading a newspaper.
Yeah, that was
I would
quite a.
say,
And hi everybody for joining us. Thanks for joining us.
oh, sorry, chat. So, hello to Darius, MC, Lord.
The Captain, Lord Thoth. We have Colin as well, and I'm not going to mention that weird one. Ironcaster as well,
Yeah.
and Darren. But we've had a couple of weird ones in as well, so we did, but I've blocked them. As soon as I saw what they posted, I reckon they were junk.
I mean, we started off. We had no weirdos is the wrong thing to say because we're all weirdos here. Just to use the mad, not mad cat. What was the cat called? From Alice in Wonderland. We're all mad in here, but the fact that we started out with zero,
The
the
Cheshire
string,
Cat.
the
The
Cheshire
Cheshire
cat, yes. But now we're not having one, we have two.
Yes.
Weirdos coming in.
Coming up in the
We've had
world.
a couple every stream in the last wee while. One or two are their names are the porno site. The other one is actually just normal names, but they post links in porn site. And it's
Yeah.
it's weird. We want something like zy.xz or something like that, but it's a link that they're posted. So it is. So,
I do feel humbled that they decide to join in on a simple conversation about a film made in the 1980s when their
film.
parents were probably not even born.
Yes. When their parents were probably still brother and sister.
I was not going to go that far, but let's take it.
Yep. It means we're getting popular to be trolled. It's either that or we're under a bridge. So,
let's get it back to the police academy.
Yeah, let's get the scores.
I will take 5 seconds from off screen, but I'm gonna put this question out. You have to choose one, just one, that is your favorite character, and it cannot be Mahoney, it cannot be Harris, and it cannot be Lazard.
It's going to be Hightower for me.
It's going to be Thompson for me.
Who's that? Say again?
Thompson.
Which one was Thompson?
Kim Cattrall.
Oh, wow. Yes, you're allowed.
You guys made it way too easy, but I kind of feel that I was like narrowing down the field, like these were the ones left. But no, I would like you to expand. Why was Thompson better for you, PJ? And for you, Wen?
Kim Cattrall.
What was it about Hightower that really made him stand out, other than just being big and strong?
What is your choice first, before you actually go any further?
Jones or Tackleberry?
I see you picked two. That's not fair.
No, I'm struggling between two of them because one is a unique character you have never seen before. The other is an ultra stereotypical American gun-toting mad. So it's difficult to choose between them because you had never seen Jones before this. You had never seen someone like this ever, had you?
Well, let's see if Michael Whitlow has actually been in anything else. Winslow. Right, what was his first thing? He done stuff well before that. He was in Gremlins. Did the voice of Magwai.
Ah,
He go.
Magwai.
He had bit parts here and there. He was in Space Stars, so he played the voice of one of the characters. That must have been an animated one. Police Academy was his first movie. Then after that, he did Gremlins. There's bits and pieces in.
You see, plenty to go around there.
Love
But
it.
I'm focusing on this Police Academy. It's not Police Academy 1, it's just Police Academy. They didn't know there was going to be 8 films in total.
Well, he played in 6 of them. So he did. I thought it was only 7 police academies. There were 7 police academies, 1 combat academy.
7 police academies, and then they go to Russia.
I thought that was 7. That was the 7.
That's the 8.
Is it? I've actually got that down separately, differently. I've got. I need to actually dig these out. Where are they?
Although I'm not Google, so I will say I could be wrong, but I'm under the impression there are 8
Police Academy 1, Police Academy 2, their first assignment. Police 3 was back in training. 4 is Citizens on Patrol. 5 was assignment Miami Beach. 6 was City Under Siege, and 7 was Mission to Moscow. So 7. So there was. Yeah. But, right. So the reason I picked Kim Cattrall is I'm a big Kim Cattrall fan. Always have been since I saw her in Porky's. I think everything she's in is better because she's in it. That's why Kim Cattrall. So that's my choice.
She's brilliant. I loved her
is.
in Big Trouble in Little China. That's one of my favorites.
She was absolutely fantastic in that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, but the first time I saw was Porky's. I even watched Sex and the City because she was in it.
Yeah.
I didn't like it, but she was in it, so it made it infinitely better.
Yeah, she's brilliant.
Yeah. So that's my choice. Her character always makes everything better.
Yes, I can't disagree there.
So well.
She's easy on the eyes, as I've been told.
She can play silly without it being overly silly.
Yeah, she is a good comedic actress when you think about it from some of the stuff that she's done. Yep. She's got a good range.
Mm-hmm. So that's why I'm sticking with. Nothing to do with the fact that she's gorgeous, even in.
Nothing to do with that. Nah.
Nothing to do with that at all. even as she's reaching.
She looks good.
She's looking better as she matures.
Yes, that's lovely.
Yeah, sure. She's aging like fine milk. No, I'm being cheesy there. I'm very much on the Kim Cattrall train there. She's extremely funny, and she's almost on the level of Lara Croft. What's Angelina Jolie? Yes, she had a film where she was literally wearing no clothing for literally most of the film, but her acting, despite you knew she was without clothing because she was like a photo model portraying Gia or some supermodel from back in the 80s or something. Her acting was just like shining through so thoroughly that it's like you forgot there was no clothing. It was like she was just acting really well. And I think Kim Cattrall is one of those that can do the same thing. Doesn't take herself too seriously, but is still able to carry through a persona, whatever it is that is needed. And if you look at Police Academy, she's a serious socialite. She's coming from a lot of money, getting dragged in to say what is it, fraternity culture, whatever it is that they're really trying to make this really be. She's still serious. I want to make this happen. I want to make this a career. I want to be a police woman. All of that. She has the gravitas to it. You really believe that is the ultimate goal. She's having fun along the way, but at the end of it, you do believe that it's a serious character. But if I'm gonna pick someone, it's gonna be Bubba Smith.
Yes.
Hightower.
Yes. Hightower, yeah. He's my favorite too.
Yeah. The
Steady up.
But, right. Do you know one of the first times I saw Kim Cattrall? The first time I really noticed it for her acting and stuff like that was Porky's, because that was just a very standout performance. But the very first time I actually saw her was in one of my favourite films, but it was a spin-off from the film. It was the TV series Logan's Run.
Oh, nice.
She had a wee bit part in the city, so she did. She was one of the numbers, Rama 2, accordingly. I couldn't remember the name. I had to look it up. But she played only in one episode, just a small part. But that's one of the first times I saw her. Thought she was gorgeous then. Then I saw her in Porky's, and then I could see she could act as well.
Which isn't really what you look at Porky's for.
No. I will say that as, shall we say, not a man, as a boy, doing just what PJ did today. It is okay. You didn't have clothes on, but you made me pay attention more because the acting, the presence, the persona,
the MC's
the
already
charismatic
he already knows what it is. Gia.
MC, I don't think I want to watch what you have in your browsing history if you know what Gia is.
Hey, listen.
Jokes aside,
you want to actually check one of our movies, right? If you check this movie out, where was it? Where was it? It was an early one she was in. I thought it was hilarious. I think it. Oh, where is it? I think it was Bare Naked Girl or something like that was the name of the movie. Where is it? Papa John MD. I'm sure it was. It was an early one she did. It was just something, and it was literally called Bare Naked Girl. That was the TV show. It was called. Where the hell is it? I can't find where she did it.
Speaking of browsing history.
I'm actually just looking up Kim Cattrall. The rest of it just there's another one, Mannequin. She was in.
Oh God, I remember.
Really great.
Was that the one with Andrew something or other?
No, that's it's Andrew.
Yeah, he was in like the sort of 90s Brat Pack, wasn't he? With
was he not in the Breakfast
Andrew
Club?
McCarthy, was it?
Yes, Andrew McCarthy. Was he in the Breakfast Club?
He's not in that movie, but he's in this. He was in that same sort of generation. And
do you know who else was in Mannequin? G.W. Daly.
He's been around in so many films.
Yeah.
I love him as Harris. And one thing that we haven't really touched on at all, and we're an hour 20 into the stream, is all the practical jokes that get pulled on him. They're very subtle in the first one, where it is like just the shoe polish on the, what was it called? The loudspeaker. But later on, it's the glue in the shampoo. It's all of these things that happens to him. But he takes it with such a good stride. It just makes him feel more alive, and you cannot actually root for him, even though you know he's bad. Well, he's not a bad guy, but he's not your friend. but still, I like G.W. Bailey in Police Academy.
No, I think that G.W. Bailey, with just the facial expressions when, like, it was a.
Yeah.
I mean,
Just
and that's just from the
humiliating.
first one. He's part of a lot more of the films, but they're just like, you didn't tell anyone, did you? Not the soul, sir.
Yeah.
It's just walking down the line, and even Sergeant Callahan is struggling to hide her. Like she wants
Oh,
to
yeah.
burst out laughing.
Yeah.
She was actually about,
Yeah.
she was breaking up, so she was. You could just see it.
That was the sort of Monty Python moment, you know, where
Yes.
the centurions are trying not to laugh.
Yeah.
Biggest stickers.
Yeah.
He was my friend. Yeah. I told her he did big things.
That scene always still makes us laugh. I cry. Every time we see that scene, I cry laughing.
I have
I
a
love
friend
them.
called because
Anybody else feel like
funny?
a little giggle?
Anyone feel like laughing? This is my friend. I mean, I'm
Palin was great.
having seen it since the 80s. It was probably in the 70s, but even today, when I'm watching that scene, I'm struggling to remain seated in my chair because it's so well portrayed, not just by the actor that's doing it, but the extras. And I'm told that the extras were literally just like pulled in off the street on that day, and it's like, don't laugh. That was literally their instructions. You go in and say, sorry, it's hilarious. And I've heard it 200 times now. It's still hilarious.
Anything Monty Python do is just funny.
We'll have to do a Monty Python stream one night if
God.
everybody's up for that. It would be great. PJ, I'm going to have to bid you good night. I seem to have... I can't get rid of this plague that seems to have taken me over lately.
Some honey tea.
It just doesn't want to leave me alone.
Nice wrap up.
It's got good taste, obviously.
The Viking recommendation is to make yourself your comfy food, whatever it is, vegetarian or not, but you nuke it with garlic.
I used to make
as much garlic as you can in whatever your favorite dish is, and you'll be fine the next morning. You may not be able to get near people for a week,
no,
but you'll be fine.
Oh, I love garlic. I used to make a really good sort of brew, a witch's brew of garlic, onion, raw garlic, raw onion in a OXO cube, chuck it in a pan with a pinch of cayenne pepper. You won't have any friends for a little while, but you will have, it will kill just about anything that gets in its way.
Why did you marry her?
But to be honest,
Hi, Darren. How do you do? Hold on, I'll drink this.
The funny thing was, I made that years and years ago. I had the flu or something, and I made it when I was on my own. And I woke up, and the cat who used to sleep on the bed was on the other side of the room, glaring at me because I must have stuck 2 a.m. into him. Yeah. But no vampires and no bugs left to bother you after you drink that, I must say. But yeah, I think a good shot of whiskey is going to do me
Yeah.
instead. So
Honey rum.
yeah.
To each their own. I've heard people saying they swear by mulled wine, which you can only here in UK get around Christmas.
See, you're
Yeah.
almost
But
right. I
mulled
just swear
wine,
at
a dash of
mulled wine.
honey and whiskey, but you put it in the microwave for about 40 seconds. So not like a full minute, just
Yeah.
warm it up enough, stir it,
Yeah.
and then you have it, and suddenly you're fine. But for me, it is if I'm coming down with the dangerous man flu, I just put literally 10, 15 garlic cloves into whatever dish I'm making, and I'm fine the
Yeah.
next day. So
Well,
for
if
me,
you're coming
garlic
down with-
nukes whatever
if-
is wrong
If
with
you're coming down with anything, that's what you need.
Wait a minute. Man flu,
Well-
yes. Yes.
Hot and
But
short.
sadly, when I don't think you're man, so you might have to find woman flu.
No. See, the difference is women flu is proper flu. Man flu is overblown.
Make believe flu.
Yes, exactly. It's make believe flu.
It's more hearty. Honest God.
All right.
See, there you go. Honey lemon tea.
Yes. Well, thank you very
Bingo.
much, all, and thank you for the lovely suggestions. I'm definitely going to look into some of those. It's been lovely to be with you again, as always. And
Always a pleasure.
I will
fun.
warn you though, if you try the garlic thing, your cat is very unlikely to love you for the next 6 months.
Oh yeah, no, I had to sort of leave the garlic cure on the shelf because it does make you quite unpopular with most humans and animals. So we skip the garlic and stick with the whiskey and the hot toddy. That sounds good to me.
Definitely.
Honey, lemon,
You
and
take
whiskey.
care.
You take care, all. Thanks very much. Bye, everybody.
By
Ta-da.
when?
Right. There you go. Man flu and bird flu.
Man flu, bird flu, SARS flu, whatever it is, us men is
No,
always
if you've got
first
flu,
afflicted.
what's the opposite of man flu? It's not women flu, it's bird flu.
I don't know. Brutally honest, I don't know what's wrong with me if I'm going to be genuine. My ex, she came down with the swine flu in, what was it, 2011, 2012.
Now, just calling
Yeah.
you a swine doesn't actually make it swine flu.
But whatever it was called, I think it was called swine flu and everything. But no, I actually, my ex was so bad, she was barely mobile. So I thought, crap, I have to take it to the A&E, emergency unit for anyone not UK based. And they literally just went, oh crap, she might have this seasonal flu and everything. So we were dragged halfway around the hospital grounds and chucked into the basement with, and I kid you not, this was a treatment room with dried leaf on the floor. And we were sat there for like an hour and a half. Now, mind you, she's had this condition for about 4 or 5 days. Me, perfectly fine. Not at all. And I'm mostly like that. I do get the flu or the seasonal sniffle or whatever it is every 5 or 10 years, but I don't catch it every year. I don't know why. I have no magical Superman, Spider-Man, the Hulk, Iron Man powers. It's just I can be around people and I just don't catch it. But she had it really bad, and she was told after the examination, oh, it was the vaccination shot you got for the flu that I didn't get, which is why I wasn't affected. But she was really reacting badly to that shot that she got. The next year she opted to not get one, and she got the seasonal one without it. So I don't know how it works, but I'm still a proponent. It's like, get the jab if you can. Don't care, but if it's like the MC is saying, it's the Viking blood. Yeah, I'm feeling sadly that I'm losing the Viking blood, because I went outside today. It was like 5 degrees, and I just going, this is really cold. And then 2 hours later, I had my brothers messaging me, and they a couple of 100 miles north of Stockholm, so quite far north. And they just went, oh, it's -16. Feels like summer. I'm just going, I'm in 5 degrees plus. Just going, this is cold.
You adjust. Everybody adjusts.
Yeah, you do. but still.
Yeah. So, we know who your favourite character was out of that. What would you say was your score out of 10? Also, your favourite part and your least favourite part.
Oh, wow. To find the least favorite part of Police Academy. Oh, wow. It must be the vanishing part of, what's his name? The guy that is married escapes his wife. She's jumping on the windshield.
Frankel.
Yeah.
Frankel.
The fact that he didn't have any kind of conclusion when all the other characters did have a complete character arc.
Tim Cattrall's character didn't he really?
No, hers did.
See, I didn't
Because
think
no, hers did, because she was a rich, spoiled brat seeking adventure, and she found a charming man at the end of it. It wasn't what she was aiming for, but she wanted an adventure, and she got one.
Yeah. See, to me, the Kim Cattrall character was just the love interest, and that was it. That's why I don't think hers ended well, because she was only there for Steve Gutenberg's Mahoney to get at the end of it. That's why I'm saying hers didn't really end well, because she was only there as a one-dimensional love interest.
But she's not really one-dimensional to me.
Well, see, a lot of them they're very static characters. You can see what character they are at the beginning. Very few of them get a change, but even when they do get a resolution to their character arc, they're still not really any different. They're just that's the thing. But I think it's the movie of its time. It didn't actually go too much into characters changing. The characters were the same.
That's sort of the thing I was kind of going down at. But if you look at the initial vector that Kim Cattrall's character has, she's in a limousine with her mom. Her mom is just going, why did you have to do this? You should just get a rich husband and get married and blah, 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 blah. And it's like, I want to be a police officer because I think people are good and I want to help people. And then just by the side of her car, that's where the woman is holding on to the windshield of her husband's, just driving the car. It's like, I'm going to be a police officer. She's going, that's perfectly normal, I guess. This is like this. You have no concept of background other than she's rich, spoiled, and pampered. And her mom has no desire whatsoever for her to become a blue-collar worker, whatever it is. So you do have high rich arc and everything. She's like, I want to do this. She's not joining police academy to become Mahoney's girlfriend.
No, I know. I see, but I'm saying that her arc didn't really go anywhere because she just joined the police academy to end up as Mahoney's girlfriend. That's
No,
really
I'm sorry.
how
She
her
did
arc
not
went.
join
Yeah.
that to that.
See,
She
we're
joined to
looking
become
at
a police officer.
no. See, to me, she was only in it to be Mahoney's love interest. So there was no arc. She was, yes, she's high, she's rich, whatever, but she joins it to join it, and then that's basically her arc is to be in danger, to be the flirt, to be in danger, and da. That's her arc in the thing.
No, I've seen, but this is me having seen so many films trying to do this. Superhero, strong boy, rawr, I'm gonna save the planet and everything. Oh, here's a woman. Oh, she's gonna be naked. She's falling to the earth. She's gonna absolutely die. At no point did I ever, or have I ever thought that Kim Cattrall was in mortal danger. She was in danger when she's hiding behind the crate when the main bad guy. So sad we don't have a name for him, but main bad guy is just firing at random. She's
Yeah.
taking cover. She is safe-ish, and it isn't Mahoney saving her. It's Hightower.
No, Mahoney goes to save her. It just so happens he got caught and Hightower finished it. But there's Colin said the exact same thing. She has her own mini arc, but her main reason for being there was to be the love interest. So her arc was unimportant. So that's why it didn't really come to a conclusion.
I am firmly disagreeing on this just because I want to have fun. No, sorry.
Still one of my favorite
yes,
characters in it, but I'm just saying the
she
way
is
the
there
movie
for
is.
Mahoney's purpose-ish, but Mahoney isn't the main guy of the story. It's the entire academy.
No. There is.
Yes,
He
it
is
is.
he is the main point of the story. The academy is
No,
the
he's the
setting.
gravitas, but all of them come out on top. From the mousy little lady
Yeah,
to Hightower that gets
you
to
can have
come
every
back to
single
become a
character, but
police
they're still
officer.
not the main characters. The main character was Mahoney. He's the main character, even above Harris and Lassard. He was the main character of the movie. Steve
No,
Gutenberg's
Harris and
character was
Lassard, the anti-hero. The riots isn't even the
the main
anti-hero.
star of the movie was Gutenberg, and so Mahoney was thingy. But the thing is, the it's not as if that this takes away from the movie because Kim Cattrall's one of my favourite characters in the movie. All I'm saying is her arc didn't really was. Yeah, it's the same as Frankel. His arc didn't go anywhere. He was a bit of a klutz. He caused all the accidents, but it just basically just floated along. It didn't come to a conclusion. Even the bit where he caused the riot, but he didn't get involved in it by dressing up, so he avoided it. But his arc didn't go anywhere either. He just was in it to get.
I will have to agree to that. I will have to agree to this. There should have been a little bit more meat to Kim Cattrall's arc. Because essentially, she's a rich girl. She joins the academy, meets Steve Gutenberg, story done. She should have had a little bit more of proving, climbing up the rope, or defeating Sergeant Callahan in the hand-to-hand unarmed combat, or something like that. That would have given it a little bit more meat. I do agree that at the end of the day, she's there to meet Mahoney. That's what the story is pushing. But having seen the crap being pulled out today,
Christ,
her story arc is amazing compared to that.
If you're comparing it to the crap today, yes, basically it's Shakespeare. But what I'm saying is we're looking at the movie as it is. If we were comparing it, it'd be like comparing Play-Doh to Picasso. It's basically they're completely different. But what I'm saying is the character's still not bad. It's just that you can have a good character, but it doesn't really go anywhere. She was there for a love interest, which you understood. So it's not as if I'm thinking, oh, her character wasn't needed, did it? She was needed for certain parts. However, favourite, least favourite, and score.
Right. I forget. Were we discussing favorite or non-favorite here?
You were
Because
going on
Kim
to you were
Cattrall,
saying
she
about your
can't be
favourite.
non-favorite.
Say that again.
No, I was just going. I forgot. Was it least or best favorite? Because we're
Well,
discussing Kim
basically,
Cattrall.
there's 3 things you need to do. Give it a score out of 10. Tell us what your least favourite part of the movie was, and tell us what your favourite part of the movie was.
So least favorite part is the Franklin thing because he started out so strong, especially him and his missus, but goes absolutely nowhere. No trade, no standout, no nothing.
Yeah.
My favorite is actually Tackleberry because taking away from all the usual suspect, he actually grows into his role. He's becoming more responsible. He's not just shooting cats out of the tree, which does happen. But he's growing into a little bit more. It's like, okay, yeah. He's unfortunately getting snubbed toward the end, but he's accepting, although with a forehead toward the hood of a police squad car. So I like his journey, especially when you see him as hyper gun totaling, shoot first, ask questions later, especially if it's leaving due at the beginning of it toward what he is at the end. But in terms of rating, this is another film that is 10 out of 10, just because of all the topics it dares to talk about. Sexism, racism, class divide, poor, rich, everything. It is in there.
See, I would give it a 9 out of 10. For for the exact same reasons, but for a completely different reason as well. Not for talking about them, for the deliberately not talked about them. And that, apart from the 2 nutcases, they were the 2 only to bring up about the people's colour of skin or being women. The rest of them, it wasn't mentioned. Jones and Mahoney were friends because they hit it off and they were friends. Not despite him being black
Hightower
and him being
reaches
white.
out to Mahoney
But that's
because
what
he
I'm saying.
believes he can get help, and Mahoney doesn't even blink. He never hesitates. I need to help a fellow friend. It's not because skin color or anything.
But that's what I'm
Fellow
saying.
friend.
It's the fact is they didn't mention it because Jones and Mahoney were friends because they were friends. Not despite them being black and white, they were friends. They were just friends. That's the thing. They didn't actually. They were just people acting together. What you would expect. So I would give it a 9 for that. There was 1 or 2 wee parts that brought it down for me, and that's probably just me being a wee bit picky with the wee things that sort of it didn't make a wee. There was things that just didn't make a wee bit of sense. Like my least favourite part was Lessard at the end where he looks under to make sure there's nothing there. However, he's the one that set it up. Tackleberry Hightower does his speech even though it's quick, and then when Mahoney goes, suddenly she's there. It was a wee bit jarring, that wee bit, but there was also a bit. What was the bit earlier on? It was a similar idea. It was a wee bit jarring. It just seemed to just no sit right, and I can't even remember what it was, but it was a bit near the beginning that I think it was the Mahoney character just being a wee bit too. Oh, you can get me off with this because, and that just seemed a wee bit.
Oh, you're
Gary.
talking with just when he's like when he's actually getting locked down under the Detective Reed or Captain Reed. Just before he realizes, no, you're stuck with police academy training. You're talking about that part of the story?
Yeah. It was just no. It's just the part that I can get out. You can just get me out. No, you have to do this. So him and the captain, because his captain was friends with his father. But there you go. Like, Colin says they dealt with it by ignoring the fact that there was issues with the colours, and they didn't make an issue of it. They were just mates, and that's exactly it. That's why it's got a 9, because these parts would have probably brought it down. But hey, it was funny as hell. Hilariously funny. My favourite part was the training scene with Callahan and Barbara. Barbara, out here. Come at me with a knife. No, it was a bit, come at me with a knife. Aye. Yeah.
Oh,
Who's next? Me.
no. You
That,
only saying that because of Sergeant Callahan, and everybody's
no,
going me.
but it was the fact is, to me, that was one of the funniest parts of that movie. And it is my favourite part of the movie. She's teaching them self-defense and they're all going, you get up here, okay, and then he does it, and who's next? All of them. And that's, to me, that's my favorite part of it. My least favorite is the
I
part where
think that plays back to the silliness of boys liking female company or wanting that, and let Sergeant Callahan is by no means unattractive. She's top tier, gorgeous woman, very shapely, all of that, and suddenly she just straddles this meat guy just across the face and was like, I defeated him. But as a young kid, I just go, why would you go up there and get your butt kicked? I didn't see the hilariousness of what they were really looking for because they just wanted the
fact of it is, when
proximity
I saw
of the
this,
lady, if you say that, not the sexual kind. It was just that,
I was in my
hey,
20s when I first saw
I'm
it.
happy for you to kick my butt. And I was just
I
going,
was in my
why
20s
would you
when this
like a
came out.
girl to kick your butt?
So I was in my 20s when this came out, so I understood the connotations of it, and I've always thought that was the funniest part of the movie. Just the typical what guys would do. Get your ass kicked. I'll do it, please. Me. And that's what
Sorry to say, Sergeant Callahan can kick my butt any day of the week. and MC's
says she would kick our asses all, and yeah, we would volunteer for it. We would volunteer.
But
But
it
it's
is
even
the
the fact that, see,
subtleness.
The Callahan character was a great character for 2 reasons. One, she was a very attractive character. But 2, they played into it by not playing into it. You look at the
Exactly.
part
She
where
wasn't there to just be eye candy.
She gets George Martinez, and she just goes like that with a top. She's wearing one of those very unflattering bras. Yeah, it's still very flattering, but it's just goes to show that it's nothing to do with how little you show. It's
How you show
it's
it.
portrayed, how the character's portrayed, even with the most unattractive clothes on. She's still damn hot.
And that is something that is so much missed today, and even more with the screeching woke people.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, have you watching Friday Night Lights? I can't profess to be that into the Hulk or She-Ra or He-Man or anything. I read a couple of the comic books
I've seen them all.
30 years ago, and I was just going, I don't even recognize the cartoon culture. It's like, is that a man or a woman that I'm looking at? If you look at Hulk and She-Hulk, you could definitely tell the difference. But the main content being presented is like, one of these individuals has slightly longer hair than the other, but everything else looks the same. And you just go, no, add a little bit of the charm, the womanhood, the female, add a little bit of the strong, protective nature of the man. Yeah, but both of them have strengths and weaknesses, but that's the comic books that I grew up with. It is even my favorite, and it will always be my favorite. It's Spider-Man.
Same here.
And what tons of people miss, and I've spoken to people that really love Spider-Man to the extent that they painted their entire motorcycle in the Spider-Man uniform color, helmet, everything. They look completely Spider-Man. And I just go, did you know that Spider-Man did a one upper punch and sent Hulk into the orbit? And I just go, I missed that series completely. And it took me 5 seconds to Google the fact that Spider-Man did one sucker punch on the Hulk, sent him to the orbit. It's because Spider-Man at that moment happened to be infused with Captain Universe or some other magical power, so he was a lot stronger than he should have been. But if you look at Spider-Man, the Spider-Man that I grew up with, Mary Jane, Stacy, the third girl, they were feminine. Whereas Spider-Man, still teenage boy, not a man, teenage boy. He was still a man. That balance is what I'm looking for when it comes between, be a superhero, be Iron Man, but if you're a woman, why not be a little bit of feminine?
Ain't going to happen nowadays. But
No.
that's what I'm saying. That's the difference is, yeah, Betty Ross. That was the other one. But the thing is,
Colin is trying to tell me that -16 isn't summer. I do have a tradition where I grew up, where you put shorts on, sat in the sauna, you took your battle axe, you walked out of the sauna, across a lake on the ice field, and you just chopped open a hole, just jumped into the river. -20, -30, couldn't care, but you did walk back to the sauna after a couple of minutes, and you were back into, shall we say, humane temperatures. Oops,
I'm
that
saying
was the
nothing.
Hulk.
I'm actually sitting in my room, chilly. You can tell I'm a bit chilly.
T-shirt, shorts. You can
Yeah,
see my
it's
naked
because
legs.
because I changed my room around. Basically, the heating's at the other end, so it basically it's not as warm as it used to, and it's bloody cold outside.
And you're supposed to be a northerner to where I live at the moment.
I'm
I'm in
also
T-shirt
get,
and
I'm
shorts,
also
and this
getting
is
old.
hot.
I'm also getting old. I can sit in a t-shirt in a snowstorm. Nowadays, I can't.
I'm sorry. Getting old is not an excuse.
It is for an old boy like me.
No, getting old is not an excuse.
Yeah, it is. And I'm sticking
Nope.
with it. I'm sticking with it. Anyway, so, ladies, gentlemen, boys and girls, Britain is normal. Yeah, it is.
In what sense?
Police
Sorry,
Academy.
that will be for another stream, but I have
Yeah.
so many questions around that statement.
Yeah, well, Police Academy, another fantastic movie, and yet again, another good old-fashioned classic comedy. Interesting, fun, and you didn't need to actually worry about all the pants they were doing. They could have a laugh and a joke at people without actually having to worry about offending people. This movie did have some things that are a wee bit dodgy nowadays, but
I
at the
will say
time, they
this:
were okay.
the Police Academy, the original, was far ahead of his time,
It
a
was.
lot cleverer than people think, and it still in 2021 stands up.
Mhm. It's not the most action packed. It's definitely not the full of all jokes. It is a good all round entertaining comedy movie. It's not one that you're constantly laughing every second of every watch of it. It's no one that you're sitting there enthralled because of the car chases, the fighting, the action scenes. No, it's just entertaining. It's got a bit of everything, and that's where it stands out. So I think
I'll give it a little bit of a twist because having seen it so many times. And spoiler alert, if people haven't watched Die Hard, press mute for 10 seconds while I describe this. Christmas doesn't start until Hans Gruber falls off the Nakatomi Plaza. But the second part is, having watched this once for so many times, it is Hightower smacking the daylight out of the criminal stealing the guns and just knocking him down the stairs and everything.
that's the movie. It starts Christmas.
There,
I'm dreaming of a white Christmas. Just like
I will add to it, but Christmas doesn't start until I've seen Hans
Yeah.
Gruber falling off Nakatomi
See,
Plaza.
I could watch Hans Gruber falling. I could watch that. To me, I don't care enough about it. My Christmas movie is that one there.
Again, I have to humbly disagree because ho, ho, ho,
That's
I
okay.
have a machine gun now.
And but that's the movie for Saturday. That one there, Hogfather. Saturday's show will be starting a bit earlier on Saturday at 8 o'clock because I'm on a very strict time limit because I'm up at 5 o'clock on Sunday morning.
And
On
also, it will be Terry Pratchett heavy.
it'll be Terry Pratchett. We will be talking Hogfather. We may have to actually do another one in the new year covering Terry Pratchett's a general discussion on Terry Pratchett.
Mm-hmm. But just a fair
There you
warning,
go. See, there you
Terry
go.
Pratchett.
The Hogfather stream. We've done Nightmare Before Christmas. We've done Home Alone. We're going to do the Hogfather. And then we're going to do a general discussion of Christmas movies.
But
Then,
here's what I said when I introduced Nightmare Before Christmas. This is what ramps up. You're getting into Christmas. It doesn't kick it off. It ramps it up to go into Christmas.
yeah.
That is what
Unfortunately,
that one is for me.
5 o'clock in the morning, I'm getting up is because I'm not going anywhere, but I'm the chauffeur. So I have to drop my wife and her friend off. So I'm up at 5 o'clock. Once I get back, I'll go to my bed. But I'm up early to do that. So I need to be in because we've got someone staying, they'll be through the room and I can't actually stream anywhere past 10 because they'll be going to their bed early because they're getting up. So and because you lot are noisy, sorry, I'm noisy because
I try and speak very quiet, but for some reason,
It just doesn't come out like that, Paul.
Well, I will give this, as the crowd is probably familiar with. We do what we picked up during the week. I have sent a photograph of a very amazing package I managed to pick up for this pick for the Saturday stream.
yes, we saw that.
And
We're still
neither of them
trying to
have a
work out what it
clue.
is.
Yeah, they don't know what it is,
Still don't know.
but they're both very big fans of it. They've been talking about these things pretty much on every Saturday streams we've ever been.
Yep.
I will drop a hint. They were twins that got famous for the work in this area. And sadly, the last twin passed away just a couple of weeks ago. And you've seen the screenshot, so you're cheating. So you now have 2 pieces of evidences.
I have no idea. I'm trying to think. Because initially I thought when you were saying about the twins, it would have been a world record, a Guinness Book of World Records, because you used to have them in the thing, the twins, Roy McGurter twins. But there you go. So
I'm looking at the
twins
box,
of
and
evil.
it says 21 disc collector editions box set. And I hope I didn't show too much there, because there will be people like freeze framing.
Well, I saw red and I saw white writing, but I couldn't make it out. It's too small.
Well, you've seen the red cross, and
Mhm.
that's across the 21 discs. So when you put them together, you get the cross put together.
What did it say? 21 discs?
21 disc collector's edition box set.
I've got an idea, but we'll see.
Now,
you
but seeing that the chat is getting curious, you have the Twitter feed where I showed the screenshot. So if you share it, you might give the chat a little bit.
Disaster area, Jim. I have that.
Oh, disaster!
McWhorter, that's the one. That the McWhorter twins. That's the ones I was thinking about. That was the Guinness Book of World Records. One of them got killed by the IRA. So he did. Ah.
I've always the chat is exploding again. I'm missing if there's someone that managed to see it. So I know I revealed the top, unfortunately. I didn't mean to. I was trying to keep it below the camera. But yes.
Well,
that
MC
is
says
one
he's
of my pickup for this week, but I will not showcase it fully until Saturday.
See. Right.
And I have more, by the way. I do have more.
I need to actually show. Believe it or not, when I'm actually streaming, my Twitter pictures go black. So they do.
Oh, really?
I don't know why that is. I think.
MC, I will keep you hooked
This
on
is
the line until Saturday.
Yeah. So this is the box set. That's the box set image you gave us. So it is.
Yep, that's the one side of the box set that I shared with the group, and it is in the box. I don't want to pick it up because it's going to show the full name and everything. This is the box when it's open up, and that's all the discs. And if you put it in the correct order, you do get that red cross.
So MC saying it must be Twins of Evil.
Still, you'll have to wait until Saturday.
Did you get the card?
I'm being the evil Grinch of Christmas.
There you go. Disaster area saying, did you get the cards with it?
I cannot confirm or deny that there are 7 sets of cards in this.
Colin Monroe, Jenny Hanley, Caroline Monroe, and Stephanie Beecham.
I cannot confirm or deny that said ladies may or may not have participated in said events.
I know Stephanie Beecham's been in 1 or 2 really good things, but I don't know if DSV's.
Again, I cannot confirm or deny until Saturday. I'm under a non-disclosure agreement with myself on this Saturday.
There he is. So that disaster area knows what it is.
Again, whatever your favorite politician is, or least favorite politician, I cannot confirm or deny.
I don't know what it is. The Red Cross, it basically, I'm thinking, I've got an idea what it is now. It can't be, it just cannot be. I'm just thinking along the lines of the Red Cross. Everybody's throwing in names to see if they all match. I don't know. So,
And you know what we say about the chat? It's always on fire.
yes.
For a reason.
So, join us again Saturday, 8 o'clock, Terry Pratchett's Hogfather. So, remember, ladies and gents, boys and girls, I'm not old, I'm classic. From me and Jim, all we can say is good night, all.
Good night.